Hey everybody, it is Gordon Majak here, back with another episode of Timeless Pop, Rock, and Soul. And today we are going all the way back to the fall of 1969 for three of the all-timers, folks. This is one of the all-time classic songs, not only from that era of 1969, but just about any era here of pop music that you care to talk about. One of the all-time classic songs, and it was from one of the all-time classic films. And of course, it was composed by one of the all-time classic pop music composers. Bam! That is three big ones right there. What am I talking about? There is so much to look at here. It's going to take us a second on this one, folks. Back there in the fall of 1969, who could forget? This is the original soundtrack there, the original soundtrack for the great film Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, starring Paul Newman and Robert Redford and Catherine Ross, with the film music composed by one Burt Bacharach. And over here on the side, you can see that it was B.J. Thomas that performed the classic song Raindrops Keep Fallin' on My Head. Wow. A lot to unpack there. We got Burt Bacharach, we got the Sundance Kid, and then we have this great song. Here's a little shot of Burt Bacharach circa 1969. Fine-looking fella that he was, and boy, could that guy write songs. And to prove it, he picked up, not one, but two Oscars for this little venture here. He got an Oscar for Best Original Song for our song, Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head. And he also picked up another Oscar that year for the Best Original Score for the entire film. So not a bad effort there for Burt Bacharach. And here he is there in 1969, early 1970, I would guess, at the Academy Awards, enjoying the fruits of his labor. There are the Oscars, and there is the one and only Angie Dickinson. Wow, life was good for Burt Bacharach right there in 1969. And life was also good for this gentleman. This was the vocalist on this fine number, and that, of course, is B.J. Thomas, his own version of the album Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head. Now, as I said, a lot to unpack here. Let's get to a couple of the details, and then we'll jump right into the music. This is October 69 that this song is released. Of course, it is a number one pop and a number one adult contemporary hit as well. And if you were a music fan back then like I was, I would have been, 11 years old. Man, this song was everywhere. This song was what you would call an instant classic, an instant standard. That it was there and played for a very, very long time. It's just another example of a Burt Bacharach classic. They just added that one to the list, and instant legendary status there for this song, Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head. Now, as I said, Burt Bacharach, and this is written by Burt Bacharach and Hal David. What an incredibly prolific team they were. I counted. Now, this is 1969 that this song comes out, and as I said, it goes to number one pop and number one adult contemporary. I counted prior to this song in 1969, going back to 1958. These guys, Burt Bacharach and Hal David, I counted 20 top 10 hits in the previous 11 years there, and 11 more in later years after this, okay? And 6 of those were number one songs, just massive hits. And guess what? This song, Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head, was one of their 6 number one songs. As I said, Burt Bacharach picks up 2 Oscars, Best Song and Best Original Score. B.J. Thomas, who delivers the fine vocal performance, very plaintive and just perfectly suited to the great lyrics of this song. B.J. Thomas had himself a nice little career there, too, back in the day. He had 5 top 10 songs in his career. 2 of those went all the way to number one, and you guessed it, this was one of them. B.J. Thomas It is the great Burt Bacharach composition, and Hal David, of course, too, man. Those guys, what a dynamic duo. And then, of course, Burt Bacharach, after he parts ways with Hal David, he goes on and just continues writing immortal classic songs with other composers. So what a track record, what a history, what an incredible catalog for Burt Bacharach. They get B.J. Thomas in there, a very competent, to put it mildly, actually pretty talented singer. They get B.J. Thomas in there to deliver a nice vocal on this one. And the rest is history, man. And like I said, back there in 1969, if you were listening to the radio and aware of the movie and aware of this song, it was just an instant standard and it never went away. And all these years later, it's just another little gold nugget there in the catalog of Burt Bacharach, of one of so many great and distinctive songs that Burt Bacharach just sort of, isn't he just one of the most sophisticated and most gifted and most amazing? You think of Burt Bacharach, guys like Brian Wilson, Lennon and McCartney, Smokey Robinson, some of the great composers at Motown. I mean, that's the cream of the crop of songwriting, right? Isn't Burt Bacharach right there at the top when it comes to pop songwriting back there in the day? I think he's pretty much right there in the end conversation for the greats to ever do it, right? So from 1969, let's do it. It's B.J. Thomas singing the classic from the great movie. What a movie that was. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid with Redford and Newman. You can't beat that. And a great song, and it still sounds great all these years later, and it still suits my mood perfectly today. The muse worked her magic once again. I got up this morning and I knew, this is what I got to hear today.
Raindrops are falling on my head, and just like the guy whose feet are too big for his bed, nothing seems to fit. Those raindrops are falling on my head, they keep falling. So I just did me some talking to the sun, and I said I didn't like the way he got things done, sleeping on the job. Those raindrops are falling on my head, they keep falling. But there's one thing I know, the blues they send to meet me won't defeat me. It won't be long till happiness steps up to greet me.
Have you ever noticed how these Burt Bacharach songs just seem to float along on air? Man, these chord progressions and these movements through the rhythm section of these songs of Burt Bacharach, they are just gliding on a pillow, man. Talk about heavenly grooves. And then you just get these beautiful melodies, of course. There's another Bacharach trademark. Always the fun lyrics that you want to sing along with, and you put a charismatic singer in front there like B.J. Thomas and so many of the other great singers that have sung Burt Bacharach's big hit songs. It is pure magic every time. Let's back it up a little bit.
Raindrops keep falling on my head, but that doesn't mean my eyes will soon be turning red. Crying's not for me, 'cause I'm never gonna stop the rain by complaining, because I'm free. Nothing's worrying me. It won't be long till happiness steps up to greet me. me.
I cannot get enough of this classic Burt Bacharach stuff, man. The instrumentation always so tasty. Finds ways to weave in the little creative trumpet solo there and the little Latin grooves. There's always such cool. Just the arrangements are always just so tasty and so cool. And yeah, like I said, damn, don't sell B.J. Thomas short there. Nice little charismatic vocal line and keeping it simple and very straightforward, but certainly putting a very nice vocal sound on there. And B.J. Thomas was one of those guys back there in the day, that very respectable singer in his own right, and had a really friendly, nice vibe that appealed to such a wide audience, and that would explain why he had a number of pretty big hits back there in the 60s and 70s, certainly including this one. And yeah, Burt Bacharach and Hal David, man, those guys, I was looking at the list of all of those big hits and the number one songs, and I was like, as I was going down the list, I was like, oh yeah, we're going to play that one on the channel. I was just checking them off. So many of my favorite songs you just don't realize till you see the names of those songs in print, and you go, man, yeah, that's one of my favorites. So is that, so is that, so is that, one after the other. Burt Bacharach, yeah. So we will certainly come back to Burt Bacharach. I think we did. What did we had? There was a song earlier in the channel. Maybe it was the Dionne Warwick, Jeffrey Osborne duet. I'm thinking of Love Power. I think that was a Burt Bacharach number. Another one of my favorites. So yeah, Burt Bacharach, man, just did it big time back there in the day. 2 Oscars, not a bad performance there on the Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid soundtrack. Nice work all the way around, Mr. Bacharach. No doubt about that. We are coming back with something. It's going to be an interesting afternoon here, because we'll have to see if I can slip this one through the blockers, the video blockers, because I didn't have much luck doing it before, but we'll try it again. Let's see. See you guys soon.